it was sweet, charming, and innocent in the best way possible. Don't you think? Yeah. So, there you go. Yeah.
Still, it was a better love story than Twilight.
You still here? Okay. Let's talk about 2017 as a whole. Yeah, there you go, boy. How about top 10 movies of 2017? Before we start this, there's one movie that I saw in 2017 that was made in 2016, and I totally missed it when it came on. So I need to do a shout out for. I need to do a shout out for this movie because this movie was the best movie I've seen all year, but it was last year's movie, so technically I can't include that in this list. But Train to Busan or Train to Busan, easily the best zombie movie ever made, and my God, what an amazing zombie flick. You know, it takes place on a commuter train during a zombie infestation, and it's one of the most aggressive, brutal, tearjerkery zombie film I've ever seen. You know, it has it all. It has suspense. It has awesome pulse-pounding action, and a lot of heart, and really solid characters, and even better actors doing the parts. Even the main character, which is a kind of a douchebag dad who's never been around, takes this little girl around and has to protect her during this infestation or zombie apocalypse. He's an asshole, but you can see where it's going with this movie, and you know, during the end you're totally on his side. And yeah, really amazing movie. I can't recommend that movie high enough. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen, and I totally recommend it to everyone. So there you go, 2016 best movie of that year, Train to Busan, and I missed it. So you better not. Number 10, Logan. 20th Century Fox's. It seems like it's Fox's last attempt of doing that character, and really solid drama and character piece. I don't think Hugh Jackman's ever been better or will never be better than he is in that film. He's that good. It's a slow burner, and there's not a ton of action in that, but the stuff it has is really well done, and Patrick Stewart owns this movie. You know, like I hope that he will get nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his spoiler, final appearance of Xavier. So I hope he will get recognition for his role in that. Yeah, Logan, really good character piece from 20th Century Fox and Marvel. Highly recommend it. Yes.
No. No. No.
Number 9, Okja. Netflix's original movie, directed by Bong Joon-ho, if I pronounced his name even remotely close enough. The director of the amazing The Host from I think 10 years back. You should watch that too. It's amazing. But Okja is a really bold experimentation of storytelling. It's a really original story about this girl and her giant hippo, and their journey that they take together and separate. Well, it's a really well-made movie, and the actors are amazing, especially Tilda Swinton, who gives if not her best performance ever, but her best singular acting bit done by anyone ever. That one bit of acting in that scene during the end, that expression is like the most horrifying thing I've ever seen an actor or actress do. Yeah, the hippo is amazing, the effects are great, the story is original and unpredictable, and it's one of those movies that has pretty much everything, you know, like decent action and awesome cinematography, good characters and actors, and even Jake Gyllenhaal is amazing in his, you know, like comedic sidekick villain character. Yeah. All right. He is both terrifying and hilarious at the same time. So yeah, if you're not a subscriber of Netflix, this movie is worth the admission alone. So yeah, Okja, highly recommended. Go watch it right now. Oh fucking hair! God damn it! Number 8. Speaking of, you know, like made for TV, Tour de Pharmacy. I'm not surprised if you haven't heard of this. It's a made for TV short movie, or short made for TV movie. That's on HBO of all channels, and it's a mockumentary about Tour de France, this bicycling contest. I can't say what it's about actually, but there's these characters who are attending for this world-renowned cycling contest, and it goes totally off the rails. I have to say it's the best comedy I've seen this year. You know, like it's a very short, about a 40-minute movie, but what they do in that time is, you know, like pure gold. Every second of it. You know, it has really awesome actors in it, you know, like Andy Samberg and John Cena and Orlando Bloom and his dick is in that. You know, a bunch of several other fine actors. You know, like even fucking Danny Glover is in this movie. And it's hilarious. Yeah, strong recommendation if you have, you know, like 40 minutes to spare and a subscription to HBO. Go watch it right now. And also, when you're done with that, watch 7 Days in Hell. The guys who made Tour de Pharmacy also made this short film about tennis. I think a Wimbledon tennis match, which is almost as good as Tour de Pharmacy. But yeah, totally high recommendation for that.
You know, this is a sport with literally hundreds of dollars on the line and dozens of fans. The stakes are medium.
Number 7. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I really liked the first one. It was really funny and you know, like well made and all that jazz. But it's Marvel, so of course they're well made. But I think the second one was better because, you know, it was a trickier movie because it's a sequel and the expectations are way high. It's a really tough job to outdo the first one, and they actually weren't trying to outdo the first one. They were just trying to build every character in the first movie that, you know, remained through the end of that film, or all the characters worth, you know, checking out second time from the first movie are in this film, and everybody gets a character arc, even Taserface, Even he gets a character arc, and he's a bit player, you know, like a small-time villain in the film who deserves nothing, actually. But even he gets a character arc, which is amazing. And almost every character in this movie gets their due. And my only complaint is that, you know, like Chris Pratt as Star-Lord gets the short end of the stick in that movie, because he has a very small character arc. Or he has a huge character arc, but it gets, you know, buried under everything that's going on in that movie. But that's my only nitpick in that film. It's a very enjoyable, well-made, colorful. Jesus Christ, the colors in that movie are off the chains, you know, like showing DC how it's done. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, it was funny, well-written, well-made. Even kind of tearjerker during the end. You know, once again, a movie that has all of these qualities is very easy to recommend. So, yeah, Guardians 2, you're on my list.
If I touch someone, I can feel their feelings. You feel love.
Yeah, I guess, I feel a general unselfish love for just about everybody.
No, sexual love.
No, I don't.
For her.
No.
Okay, number 6, Thor Ragnarok. You know, by God, what a hilarious movie. You know, the director Taika Waititi made the excellent, brilliant What We Do in the Shadows. And you know, that guy had my, you know, like my money from day one since I saw that movie, you know, like that's one of the best dark comedies ever made. And Thor Ragnarok isn't as good as that movie. Let's make that clear. But still, Thor Ragnarok is one of the best Marvel movies there is, because it's hilarious, weird, unpredictable, and you know, like it's the most heavy metal of all all Marvel movies, all comic book movies I've seen. You know, like it's the stuff of Dio album covers. You know, and bunch of awesome actors and actresses are in that movie and giving their all. I really enjoy, Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth. I really enjoyed his take on this character, on this film, you know, like he's more relaxed and more in tune with the character. And Loki is amazing, and everybody's amazing. Even Kate Blanchett is like a generic villain, but, you know, at least she gets to chew the scenery and make her time worthwhile during that film, and all the awesome cameos. And, you know, once again, it's a well-made movie. The photography is one of the best of the year. It's a really great movie. You know, go watch it, you know, if you enjoy Marvel shit like I do.
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Well, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
Number 5, John Wick 2. The first John Wick was a brilliant movie, and I think it might be a little better than the second one, but once again, you know, having a sequel that is as good, almost as good, or not even better in some aspects than the first one, is a small miracle. This time around, you know, it's the best action movie of the year by far. You know, like if you want awesome gunplay and, you know, ass kickery, it's all there, with an amazing score from Tyler Bates, I think. Awesome cinematography and really good choreography of the fights, and the characters are there and they're quite awesome, all except maybe the Italian Enrico Palazzo guy, the villain. He's a tad thin as a character, but, you know, John Wick, best action movie of the year. So go check it out. Yeah. Number 4, Star Wars 8, The Last Jedi. Yeah. Not what you'd expect. Huh. For me, I always like to be surprised during my movies, especially a movie that is called Episode 8 of all things. You know, like imagine, Police Academy 7 being, killing off Lazard in the end or something. But yeah, it was hilarious and dramatic enough. Like there was so much unexpected humor in that movie that I'm pretty sure will deter some of the viewers off because they were expecting something like Empire Strikes Back, which is a kind of a darker movie. Not to say that Empire didn't have its humorous qualities in it. It did. It had a really solid comedic bits in it. But this has, this uses comedy as a way to differ from the Force Awakens movie. And I enjoyed that. I thought that the characters were better this time than in Force Awakens. Even if Carrie Fisher delivered an amazing performance, heartfelt and toned down from the first one. The first one had really clunky writing and acting in parts, but this one, everything with Carrie Fisher was pure gold, except maybe the Mary Poppins space float thingy. And Mark Hamill steals the whole goddamn movie in my book. He was truly amazing, and you can feel this pent up, acting experience coming out of him, and he was really good. He was really, really good. And the movie is good. Rian Johnson, I wasn't a fan of Looper or Brick, but I saw the potential of the guy, and he makes some weird decisions here and there, and it made a really interesting watch. And it was a bold move from Kathleen Kennedy to hire him to do the second one, because there are weird bits in this movie. I kid you not, but I enjoyed the quirkiness and the differences between all the other Star Wars movies. And I encourage them to do similar unpredictable shit in the future. So yeah, Star Wars 8, really well done. Not perfect, but good enough.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
Number 3, Gerald's Game. Once again, made for Netflix movie, and for my money, everybody seemed to flip their shit for Stephen King's It, the remake, and yeah, it was a really good, really well made movie and all that jazz. But Gerald's Game is on a whole different level, because what I gathered from the book, it was near unfilmable. Like the way it was written, it's all inner monologue and stuff like that. And the way they made the inner monologue work in that movie is short of a miracle. I can see they worked their asses off for this movie. Once again, it's a character piece. There's only few major actors. Yeah, or major characters in that movie, but Carla Gugino, I think one of her best performances ever. She was really good, because she had a, well, spoiler, she had a dual role as a woman chained to bed next to her dead husband, and oh yeah. The movie is about this woman chained up to her, next to her dead husband, and she's trying to find a way out of that predicament because there is no one in the house except her and her husband's body and a stray dog, and it gets a whole lot weirder and scarier during the runtime. But yeah, Carla Gugino is really good because she gets to play herself in that predicament, but also her inner self, you know, who is more assured and not self-centered, but you know, like more self-aware, or you know, like she's the courageous one of them all, and she makes, you know, like guides her through this hellish predicament. Bruce Greenwood. I think this was his best performances ever, and he really went up the charts for me. He did a really solid job. You might ask, how is he performing well as a dead person? But you'll see. But he is amazing. He gets to chew the scenery, and you know, like, not chew the scenery too much, you know, like just enough to make an impression and make a really solid boost for the story and the, you know, the movie itself. And Gerald's Game is an actor's movie. It's sort of like Misery, only up, you know, like 75 million times more scary and intense and funny and better written and everything. It's so much better than almost anything Stephen King has wrote, maybe excluding Shawshank Redemption and The Shining. I do believe it's the third best adaptation of Stephen King. It's that good. You know, once again, subscribe to Netflix and check that motherfucker out. It was so good.
Is this really what it takes these days?
Well, fuck, Jess, sorry.
Okay, number 2, and this surprises even me, Dunkirk. Christopher Nolan as a filmmaker has, you know, been out of my radar for a long time. I always thought him to be really overrated as a director, you know, like, you know, I enjoyed Memento, and I think that was a really good movie, and then he started making, you know, these weird ass movies like Insomnia and shit like that, and then he made Batman trilogy, which are, for my money, overrated. And then, you know, Inception and Interstellar. Inception is a pretty decent movie, but, you know, it's a movie that should have had a, you know, a more gimmicky director, like Zemeckis doing shit like with that, you know, because I think Inception was a bit too grounded for my taste, for such an, you know, such a high premise, you know. I think that movie was underdeveloped, not story-wise, but visually, you know, it had so much potential to be so much better. It's not a bad movie, not at all. None of the, you know, Nolan movies are bad, but I don't think they're as great as everybody tells they are. And especially Interstellar, that did pretty much nothing for me. Except some awesome visuals, and, you know, the Zimmer score has, you know, like, grown on me. And after those movies, I was pretty much done with, you know, Nolan. And when I saw the trailers for this movie, I was like, oh, not again, Nolan doing his Nolan thing with Nolan doing his Nolan thing with World War II. And I totally wasn't on board with that, but it just so happens that, you know, this gritty war drama is exactly where Nolan is is at his best. You know, this movie is so well done and so well scripted. Not the characters, because it's not about the characters, you know. It really isn't. But it's about the structure of that film. And I didn't know anything about the structure of this film until I went to watch this movie. And I had so low expectations for this movie. And then the structure of this film hit me. And, you know, it was such an eye-opener and such, you know, potential to storytelling, such a new way to approach that thing. And, you know, it was relentless. The Zimmer score, which is near unlistenable without the, you know, the movie. So the score is not, you know, for home listening, but in the context of the film, it's masterful. And it's pulse pounding, and it's a terrific piece of cinema. And one of the best war movies I've ever seen. I don't think I've been that jazzed up for a war movie since Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, it's a really, really well-made movie. So, high recommendation, and Christopher Nolan, glad to have you back as my, you know, go-to directors of awesome war movies. So yeah, Dunkirk, number 2. And number 1, Blade Runner 2049. After Arrival, you know, director Denis Villeneuve really upped his game. I kind of like Enemy, and haven't seen Prisoners yet, but Arrival was really good. It was a smart science fiction movie, something I haven't seen in a long time. Then I heard that he would be directing Blade Runner sequel instead of Ridley Scott. I was simultaneously, you know, a bit bummed out. But Denis Villeneuve doing Blade Runner turned out to be one of the best decisions anyone has ever made, you know, in the history of cinema. Because that movie was amazing, you know, like, it's a slow burn science fiction movie which is unquestionably masterclass of filmmaking, you know, like, wow. Just the cinematography alone is, you know, like the best cinematography I've seen in like 20 years. If that movie doesn't win Best Cinematography Oscar of this year, you know, like, something's wrong in that, you know, Tinseltown, because, come on, it's the best looking movies I've seen in a long time. But what can I say, you know, that movie has a really good ambiance, and oh, I guess we're done.